Hey folks, Tony Mo here, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the just released Ghostrunner demo. If you're a member of the Titanfall community, no doubt you've been looking forward to this. If you have no idea what the hell this game is, you're about to find out. It is a first-person cyberpunk dystopia hack and slash. It's got wall running and sliding and cutting people in half with an insanely sharp sword. And that's about it. We could talk about the story, but really, it's not important. The entire game exists so you can run around jumping off of walls using an electric grappling hook and cutting things in half. And it just so happens to look really pretty while you're doing it. The game has no release date beyond sometime in 2020. It is eventually planned for a console release, but this demo is only available on PC via Steam, and it's only available for a limited time. I believe it's going until the 12th of May, so you got like 6 days to download this thing and give it a shot for yourself. The demo runs about 10 minutes, even shorter than that once you get a feel for the mechanics. I finished it in, I think, just under 8 minutes, around like 7.5, and I have played a lot of it actually. I played an hour of it on stream today, which, by the way, as we jump into the play button here, I am streaming Monday through Friday starting at 12:30 p.m. EST every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and occasionally on weekends. We've been doing that for the past month, going on a month and a half now. If you want to come hang out, the link is down in the description below. We're playing games like this. We're checking out new releases. Come hang out with me. Come have a good time. Let's talk more about Ghostrunner. Now, this game is actually being developed by 3 studios, 2 of which I've never heard of, and also 3D Realms, which I find kind of interesting. It's a big old collaboration of folks just making this cool sword hack and slash game. I will say, from a visual perspective, this game is freaking beautiful. It does actually have an RTX DirectX 12 beta available for the demo, and I ran it, and I'll show some footage of it right now for you guys so you can sort of see the difference. It's pretty intensive. It does seem to be running real-time reflections, I think. I'm not like an RTX Pro, but that definitely was the most notable thing, was how the lighting was modified pretty heavily in the RTX version. It's a lot darker, but the lighting sources do obviously reflect off things, and it creates a very different mood than the base game and, you know, what is going to be obviously a lot of the custom dev tool lighting. But regardless, it looks freaking beautiful. And while I don't really care about the story and whatever justifications they're trying to give us to hack and slash up hundreds of people, I do like the idea of this being a sort of tower city, right? So the idea that this city has just sort of been stacked up upon itself over the, you know, centuries, decades, however long it's been, and you're sort of traversing your way through it. I think it makes for a good bit of, you know, immersion, blending, reasoning, whatever you want to say, for the player when you're making your way through a more linear environment like this. You can sort of stop to look around, and, you know, there's a little bit of a skybox in the background occasionally, and you really do feel like you're just sort of, you know, stomping your way through the interior of this just incredibly crowded and dense tower city somewhere in this cyberpunk dystopian future. It just works for me. And I love little bits and bobs in this game. Look at them all. Look at all the bits and bobs. There's power boxes and cables and vents and signage and steam pouring out of said vents. Oh my god, I love it so much, dude. It's like absolute overload of the things that you get in cyberpunk environments, and I fucking love it so much. It's just so ridiculous. It's so overdone sometimes, but I don't care. I love every bit of it. This is like one of those little like linear experiences. It's not fully linear either, where you can see we got a couple options here. They do try to make these sort of arenas where there's a bit of player choice, if you will, right? You can kind of make your way through the environment in different ways every time, and sometimes that gives you access to enemies that are unaware because you managed to make your way up behind them. But dude, I enjoy it a hell of a lot. Let's talk about the combat a little bit more, and sort of how the systems in this game work, because I'm making them look, you know, relatively fluid because I've played this for 2 hours now. But I will admit, the dash and the slowdown mechanic in this game threw me off a little bit. It's probably the only part of the game that I don't totally love, although it does, you know, come together really well if you decide to use it the way it's obviously been designed to be used. So when we're on the ground, if we press our shift key, we can dash left, right, forward, back, you know, sort of all of the cardinal directions. However, when we get airborne, the dash no longer works the same way. We can no longer directional dash. If I'm running backwards and I press the shift key in the air, I'm just automatically going to dash forward. That's because I'm triggering this time slowdown. So if I hold it all the way, I can then air strafe. I can control myself in the air, and I'm technically moving faster than normal time. So I use this to dodge bullets, and then when I let go, I always move forward. This is obviously a very specific design decision by the devs to ensure that the player can dodge projectiles while always moving closer to their target, because hey, after all, this is a game about cutting things with the sword, and I need to be getting closer to my target. So it sort of automatically does that for me. I totally get that, but there is a deep part of me that wishes that it was more of an optional mechanic and that I still had full air dashing control. You can technically just look the direction you want to dash in the air and then like rotate back to take out a target. Like for example, we can dash that way and then come back on this guy, but it doesn't have the same advantage that using the slowdown has. Like slowing down legit allows us to move faster than the bullet to dodge it. So that's like, we're always going to make our way around that. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really like to spam use the slowdown. It's obviously super efficient, but I find myself trying to use it as little as possible, which I guess that works from a game design perspective. They made something where like, yes, this slowdown is really potent and we want you to use it and we're going to encourage you to use it. But if you don't, you can still like kill enemies and beat the game. I mean, I beat the demo on stream today while using it as little as possible, and it was harder, but it felt really good. You know, I kind of just wish I had that option to do normal dashes without slowing down, I guess is where I'm getting at, and without having to like really manipulate the mechanic by like look dashing in the direction I want. Really my only complaint. That all aside, it still just feels incredible to play. Like, dude, it's so silky smooth. Honestly, the swordplay reminds me a little bit of Dishonored 2, in that like the sword just feels so effortless and lightweight. And when I saw the game, right, I remember seeing the demo for it, and then I actually saw it again at PAX East when I was there. I didn't think it looked that good, right? Like the swordplay, I was like, oh, it just kind of looks static, and it like doesn't look like that feels good to play, and I was totally wrong. It feels incredible. I wouldn't mind a little bit more weight behind the attack sometimes, so I can kind of feel the sword slicing through my target. But I think the idea here is just to make you feel like you cut through everything like it's hot butter. And if that's what they're going for, it absolutely works. I just personally like a little bit more feedback in my swordplay. You know, I still want to slice through things like hot butter, but, you know, maybe just let me drag in that hot butter just a little bit. Just a little bit. But beyond that, dude, it feels good. I think the overall idea, and I'm going to be honest here too, I was kind of sort of arguing with myself. I'm still in that state. This is usually the type of person I am when I play a game like this, is I like to sort of justify, right? Like, okay, well, why would the devs do that? What's like their design goal? What are they aiming for in the overall experience? I'm sitting here maybe complaining that the sword, you know, cuts through things too well, and I would like to feel a little bit more slashage, but, you know, that's maybe not what they're going for. You know, the general idea here for you is just to, you know, sort of see the carnage you leave behind and to execute effortlessly, because that's who you're supposed to be, this, you know, insane killing machine, right? So if that's what they're going for, you know, making sure that the sword just almost feels like it just slices through things with, you know, no effort is probably the better design decision, right? That accomplishes their goals. So just kind of how I've been thinking about this game a little bit. I would say at the end of the day, right, they've done everything right, because it just feels amazing. Regardless of what I think, it feels good, and I've played 2 hours of a less than 10-minute demo at this point. The grapple itself is also pretty cool. You know, I think this is, again, it's going to be a very linear experience. You know, obviously we have like these little sandboxy type arenas where we can go left or right, but the general idea here is to push the player forward consistently through, you know, handmade levels, not big sandbox open experience. So adding something like the grappling hook in is just going to add variety to the combat encounters. Now suddenly, oh, we've got, you know, the opportunity to fall off a ledge, and that could be bad. You could fall and die, but hey, you got this grappling hook, and you can whip yourself around with it. And it also just, it feels and looks wicked cool. And that's kind of the general theme for this game, I think, at least for me, is like everything that they do in the game is there just to make things feel a lot cooler than they did before, right? Like, let's just drive the cool factor up times 10 because we can. So here's this electric grappling hook you're going to use to make our, you know, sort of linear platforming segments a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting, and to just add, in general, a little bit more style to them, which is very cyberpunk, let's be honest. Oh yeah, swinging from giant PC electrical cables, probably hook up to some crazy supercomputer in the sky. Look at that. Dude, I'm sorry. These environments, man, they're so killer. And that's the demo, guys. Unfortunately, it's done and over with. I'd like to talk a lot more about this game, but we pretty much did it all. We're just going to free whisper from his cell, and things will end there. Trying to think if there was anything I sort of missed out on. I think I covered just about everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, the RTX implementation. It's a fun little demo, dude. I wish I could play more of it right now, and I hope that devs is going well for them. I hope the team is able to get this out in 2020, because I just want to play the hell out of it. I've got questions. Are there going to be upgrades to our abilities? You know, is my dash going to have some modifications? You know, what's the sort of progression path look like for the game? Or is this more of a like, you know, here's the tools right from the rip here. There's not a lot of them, but we're going to introduce you to set piece after set piece of these, you know, sort of semi-linear environments, and we just want to see how you hack and slash. Either way, I think this game is shaping up to be one hell of a good time. You should definitely download the demo. It's freaking free. Give it a shot for yourself, and keep an eye on this. I'll definitely be talking a lot more about this game in the future, and when full release rolls around, you can bet your bottom I'll be checking it out and playing through it over on the stream. I hope you guys are all taking care of yourselves. I hope you're doing well, you and all of your families. Take care, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.
Face to face, that is. Now, let's take a look inside. This may feel a little strange.